The White Apocalypse, the Great Mount Shasta, snowfall of 1959. Human history is marked by many natural disasters, but the storm that struck Northern California in February 1959 stands in a category of its own. It wasn't just a blizzard, it was a collision of titanic atmospheric forces that turned one of the world's most mysterious peaks, Mount Shasta, into the epicenter of a climate record that remains unbroken to this day. In a single week, an incredible 480 centimeters, nearly 16 feet, of snow plummeted onto the mountain slopes. To visualize the scale of this catastrophe, one must imagine an entire town literally vanishing beneath a white shroud, where familiar landmarks are erased, and survival becomes a minute-by-minute struggle against gravity and the cold. Chapter 1. The Calm Before the Storm. Mount Shasta is more than just a mountain. It is a massive stratovolcano in the Cascade Range, shrouded in legends of hidden cities and mystical forces. But in February 1959, mysticism gave way to harsh physics. Rising 14,110 feet above sea level, Shasta acts as a giant barrier for moisture-laden air masses traveling from the Pacific Ocean. In early February, a meteorological trap began to set. A low-pressure zone over the ocean started sucking in vast amounts of subtropical moisture, a phenomenon now known as the Pineapple Express. This stream of warm, saturated air raced toward the California coast, where it collided head-on with a freezing front descending from Canada. Their meeting point was the summit of Mount Shasta. In the town of Mount Shasta at the mountain's base, life was normal. The Ski Bowl Resort, located at an elevation of about 7,800 feet, was preparing for tourists. No one guessed that within days, this location would record the deepest single-storm snowfall in U.S. history. On February 13th, the sky turned a bruised gray. The pressure plummeted, and the first flakes began to fall. Chapter 2. The Siege Begins. February 13th, 15. The initial hours of the storm didn't spark panic. In Northern California, February snow is expected. However, the intensity grew with terrifying speed. Instead of typical flakes, the snow fell in a dense, blinding wall. By the morning of February 14th, it was clear this was no ordinary event. Nearly 3 feet fell in the first 24 hours. Roads began to disappear. Snowplows that usually handled drifts began to stall. The snow was heavy, wet, and sticky. The infamous Sierra cement. It packed down instantly, turning into a monolithic weight. At the Ski Bowl Lodge, the situation turned critical. Staff found themselves trapped as the snow fell at a rate of 2 to 4 inches per hour. Winds at higher altitudes reached hurricane force, creating massive drifts. By the middle of February 15th, the fresh pack was already over 6 feet deep. Power lines snapped under the weight of ice and falling timber. The region plunged into darkness. Chapter 3. The Peak of the Catastrophe. February 16th, 19. The most harrowing period occurred between February 16th and 18. During these days, the snowfall intensity reached its absolute zenith. The moisture conveyor belt from the Pacific showed no signs of stopping. Due to orographic lift, where the mountain forces air upward, causing it to cool and dump its moisture, the snow fell with incredible efficiency. People in their homes below began to hear a terrifying sound, the groaning and snapping of roof rafters. The architecture of the time was not designed to hold hundreds of pounds per square foot. Residents realized they were being entombed. To leave their houses, they had to dig tunnels upward. Those attempting to clear their roofs faced a deadly trap. The snow they shoveled off would instantly bury the first-floor windows, blocking all exits. At the ski bowl, the snow level surpassed 13 feet. This was now a dead zone. Massive avalanches roared down the slopes, snapping century-old pines like toothpicks. By February 19th, official measurements at the ski bowl station showed the staggering total, 480 centimeters, 189 inches, of fresh snow from a single storm cycle. The mountain had literally changed shape, its ravines and ridges smoothed over by a giant white blanket. Chapter 4. The struggle for survival. The town was cut off from the outside world. The Southern Pacific Railroad, the region's vital artery, was paralyzed. Massive rotary snowplows, looking like armored tanks, tried to punch through the drifts, but the snow was so dense the machinery simply broke. Locomotives became stuck in tunnels of snow. In town, fresh food supplies ran out. Bread and milk became luxuries. Local heroes emerged. Men organized shoveling brigades to clear the roofs of hospitals and public buildings. The greatest hidden danger was gas. Snow buried vents and chimneys, leading to a risk of mass carbon monoxide poisoning. Families had to stand guard around the clock, digging out the pipes for their heaters. The weight of the snow was so immense that gas station pumps were crushed flat, and storefront windows shattered from the lateral pressure of the snow pressed against the glass. The National Guard attempted to reach the town, but even their heaviest vehicles were rendered useless. Communication was maintained only through ham radio operators who relayed status reports on the sick and trapped. Chapter 5. The Aftermath and Legacy. When the storm finally broke on February 20th and a blinding sun emerged, rescuers saw a landscape that looked alien. Only the tops of chimneys were visible where houses should be. Cars had completely vanished, found only by the tips of antennas poking through the crust. It took weeks to clear the main roads. That spring was filled with anxiety. Everyone feared a catastrophic flood as 16 feet of snow began to melt. Fortunately, a cool spring allowed for a gradual thaw, filling California's reservoirs to the brim. This record, 480 cm in a single storm, is still officially recognized by NOAA as the greatest snowfall from a single storm incident in United States history. It became a benchmark for studying extreme precipitation. For engineers, it was a hard-learned lesson. Building codes in mountainous regions were forever changed to withstand the Shasta load. In 1959, Mount Shasta reminded humanity that despite all technological progress, nature can change the conditions of life beyond recognition in just a matter of days. The storm remained in the memory of survivors as the Great White Silence, a time when the world shrank to the size of a tunnel dug from a front door to the road, and the only sound was the scrape of shovels and the heavy breathing of people fighting for the right to breathe beneath 5 meters of frozen water. This was the story of the incredible power of nature that forever entered the climate annals of California. Mount Shasta continues to guard its mysteries, but the scars of February 1959 remain in its glaciers and in the memories of those who survived beneath the 5-meter drifts. If you enjoyed this look back at the most incredible moments in history,